when I was starting out in this industry, anyone who knew what they were talking about, they all said like it's a combination of skill and luck and being at the right place at the right time. And it's after years of grinding, I kind of started to erode. Like my hope kind of started to erode. I mean, I still was motivated. I wasn't any less motivated. I think there's a difference, but I think the skies ahead were very cloudy. And then, you know, of course I did get my break and I was so appreciative of that. But I'm very aware that, you know, the break doesn't always come for some people. And a lot of the times people do deserve it. Like I get it, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll talk to my manager, and I have this really cool opportunity to talk to students at our old college. And I do encourage them to, you know, always don't fully have your blinders on. Like always be aware of your peripherals. Like there are things that you could pivot to that are still kind of in the arena of what you want to do, and be open to changes. I mean, in the beginning of my career, I had a few very close calls to be a host, and I did not want to be a host, but I did want to make money,
Right.
at least entertaining people. And so if that were to happen, if I were to actually be offered one of those jobs, I think I would have taken it. And then maybe I would have
Of
pivoted,
course.
you know?
Yeah.
So I think,
Yeah.
I think it's just important to be aware of all of your options. Like I'm not necessarily someone who's going to be like, no, like know your goal and stick to it no matter what. Like, let's be realistic here. Like we can only control so much in our careers, you know?
When you said the skies are cloudy ahead
Mm-hmm.
and you still had passion, but you know, you were realistic. You were describing what I always say about the entertainment industry in general, which is there is no joy, only relief. And that is, sure, there's a few people that come out here, audition for the first thing, get like, wow, and they're, and, you know, they're getting $20 million paychecks. They're so rare. Most people, even quote unquote successful working actors, have had to compromise, grind it out, take a shitty job, can be told no 100 times before they're told yes. So by the time you get to the yes, you're just like, really? Me? Oh, okay. It's tempered. You never feel like, I never felt like I was being catapulted into this stratosphere that didn't have anything to do with reality anymore. There was always reality because you've heard no so many times.
Yep.
So it doesn't, when you were asking Chad about what is that, what's the difference or what is it like? The difference, I think, is the ability to hear no and go, okay, dust yourself off and get back in there.
That's right.
And also the ability to just go, I still think every job's my last.
Yeah.
Every job is my last job, full stop. And every audition is my first. And you're going to hear no a gajillion times. But honestly, they grind you the fuck down out
They
here.
grind you down. They grind you down. And Julie, I have to say, so I heard you say something similar. I think it was on Tony Hale's episode about how, you know, every job you're worried that it's your last. And I got to say, it's refreshing to hear, you know, you're a veteran of the game. You've worked, you've had these like iconic roles, and it is a sense of relief to be like, all right, we all have this fear, you know, no matter how much you believe in yourself, you all have this fear. So
and it all just depends on what you've got on the line. How much, what's your nut? Who are you carrying? When I was in my 20s and working, it didn't matter if I said no to a job or you know, because I start to have a little agency, and then you get married, and then you got kids, and then you're like, oh shit, now there's a lot more at stake. And now, believe it or not, I look at you, Ben, and I go, you're the lucky fucker. You are the lucky fucker. You got it all in front of you. And as far as I know, and I love my children, you don't have any kids, right?
not yet, no.
Okay. This is the best time ever.
Right.
You're agile. So, but Julie, you're saying it grinds you down. It sounded like that's exactly what you were saying. I'm curious, like, how does facing that many slammed doors, how does that, whatever that does to you, how does it show up in other areas of your life that are non-professional?
Oh man, that's a very good question. Yeah, I mean, you know, first off, the no's, they get to you. As much as you want to say they don't get you, they get to you. And it's actually funny because growing up, I was someone who was so afraid of no. My mom would always say, if I had to go up and ask someone for a mint or something, like the smallest things, my mom would always say, what's the worst they could say? No. And I would be like, yes, that is the worst that could happen. That's a terrible thing to happen. And then I go into this career path where like I literally, it's just always no. When it comes to the actual job, like, you know, I've gotten to the point where I understand that like the job isn't real until you're on set and the camera's rolling. Anything can happen. And so I've learned that, and I try to curb my expectations and whatnot. But as far as other aspects of my life, look, I think one of the reasons why I've stuck with this is I am a glass half full person. I am a very optimistic person, sometimes to my own fault and my own detriment. But I'd rather be that way than the other way, and that's just who I am to my core. And so I try not to let my, you know, quote unquote rejections in this, you know, in this part of my life to kind of like hinder my experience in other parts of my life. I generally always still try to remain who I am down to my core. I'm optimistic. I always think that things are going to work out. And my fiance and I do have kind of this fun dynamic where it's, you know, she's not pessimistic by any means, but I am the glass is like 3/4 full all the time, you know? And so we really balance each other out like that. So look, I'm always going to remain optimistic. I always like to think things are going to work out, but yeah, it's a hard balance sometimes.